Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to open the meeting at 6 o'clock. This is a special select board meeting to work on the budget and a few miscellaneous things. January 5th. So calling the meeting to order at 6. Any changes to the agenda? Do we want to talk about the library as a possible?
Well, I think in the budget section, it sounds like we would,
Under the budget.
yeah, we have a budget section
okay.
that we would talk about the library as one of the.
All right.
Well, it's also an article, because it gets warned separately.
Yeah,
It's not a town entity.
But it is something we have to talk
Yeah,
about.
so we can put
yeah.
it under both of those items.
Okay.
I was just going, Sarah is on also here.
Yeah, that's on the agenda as well.
Great.
Okay, yeah. Okay, those two things. Anything else that we want to make sure we get to? Any announcements?
Just one note. Angela might be under Cutler Library, not their name. So just so you know, in case they.
There it is right there, just jumped in.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I do have an announcement. You're going to talk about Peter Welsh?
Yes.
Okay, because go ahead, talk about Peter Welsh.
So in response to the letter that we sent the congressional delegation concerning federal highways as the book road, Rebecca
Yeah.
Ellis from Senator Welsh's office called me. She had been in contact with Sanders and Balance offices as well, and their staff, and someone from Federal Highways. And tomorrow afternoon, I believe at 2 o'clock, we have a conference call about that.
Wow.
And Keith Cubbin from Regional Planning will be on the commission, as well as Patrick Travers, who is the project management, municipal project manager for the next 3 projects, which include the bridge at, 23, 24, and 12.
Yes,
Okay, which also includes the big washouts.
yes.
Okay, and it's very timely, this call, because this past Thursday, I guess, Patrick Travers and I, and Keith Cubbin, and somebody from V-Trans, I'm blanking on his name, I could check my notes, who represents the Municipal Assistance Service. It used to be Bureau, now it's MAS, not MAB. I forget, they change their names all the time. But he also participated, and we reviewed the 4 people firms who sent their requests for qualifications, and we scored them, and we have now sent out the RFPs for them. They will be due back to us by the 30th. We'll have a meeting to review them. And that should be Carl and I and Josh. But Carl and Josh could not make the meeting, but I was there. And Patrick Travers is asking that the select board then grant him the authority to sign and contract with whoever we choose as the winning firm to do those projects.
What is the reason for having him authorize it? I mean, we'll authorize it, but he'll sign. Is it timing?
I think it's just to speed things up.
Okay.
It's timing.
Yeah.
There are some deadlines with the federal highways stuff that they would like to see at least some stuff committed by the end of October of 2026, or the end of September 2026. And I'm not clear on exactly what is or isn't subject to that deadline. But I went back and looked at what we did for Evan Dietrich, and we voted here at the select board to, just in terms of precedent, we voted here on which contract to award. So
We would do the same thing.
I would think we would do the same thing, which would probably put this on our first February regular scheduled meeting, which I think would be like the 9th.
Yeah.
Date's correct.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
So he's
Well,
looking for maybe something earlier than that, but we have other meetings in between now and then, so if we figure out a way that we could accelerate that, maybe we can take a look at that. But at this point, we would schedule it for that meeting.
Yep, I know it's a short fuse on the contracts. They don't have a lot of time, so they want to get it going. But we need the information after the RFP comes in. I also have something to say, announcement about Peter Welsh. My wife Mary had written a letter before, the select board wrote a letter talking about the frustration in working with the agencies that would help fund us. And he is coming here on January 22nd at 6 p.m. And he wants to hear from people who have had issues with buyouts or any issues. He wants to hear about them. And I don't know if he'll be here in person. He's going to try, but if not, he'll be on Zoom. So that's we want to make sure the word gets out that January 22nd, it's the 6 o'clock, people with issues relating to the flood.
Forward me that, just so I put it up tomorrow morning, tell it on the website. So.
Okay,
That's going to be here at the Opera House?
it's going to be here at the Opera House. Yes. We'll send you something.
Great.
Yep.
Great. I have one thing that I just want to plant the seed. Don't have to make a decision on it, but the United States Post Office has changed the mechanism by which mail is stamped. So in other words, you used to sort of drop mail at the post office and it was stamped there. No longer. It'll be stamped in a sorting facility in Connecticut, in Hartford. Now, the ramifications of that are that we need to consider changing our policy about postmarks, because you're going to end up getting into these arguments about, well, I dropped it at the post office and, but it marked it 2 days later or something. So I'm putting that out there, and, whatever you want to decide, but I think it's an issue that is going to come up.
Yeah, it's a valid issue. Yeah, Peter.
Well, I mean, I know this is being discussed nationally in terms of, when ballots are counted as being received and whether they should then be counted, and particularly those states like California or I believe Washington State, where they often go for weeks after Election Day until results are known. I'm not sure that Plainfield or any town alone in Vermont could do that. That may be a legislative matter. In other words, I don't think Plainfield can decide we're going to accept things postmarked at a sorting center.
That actually, in election stuff, that might be true. In terms of tax stuff, that would be the
Payments.
There are different.
Oh, in terms of our tax payments?
In terms of our tax payments and so forth, we seem to, towns do have agency on that.
And it's also, I think what you're saying is we want to be alerted to that as being an issue, so we may have
I just want
to.
everybody, we've had fights in the past where people regarding when it's stamped, and I just see this going up exponentially. So but I think for voting, that's a separate thing. I'm really talking about tax stuff.
Yeah, I would want to check with our attorney and make sure that we do actually have the ability to do that.
Okay.
Are you aware of better policies? Do you have any?
Well, the clerks are simply saying, I mean, I think, no, I don't speak for everybody, but some people are just like, well, we're going to leave it the way it is. And when it's postmarked, it's when it's post up, and explain afterward. And other people are like, we're really going to push that it has to be received physically by the town by this drop dead date.
Yeah.
I don't know that there's an easy way of managing this.
Yeah.
I don't know. I know we have online right now. I don't know if she's listening to this particular thing, but Sarah Macy is a town official in St. Albans. I don't know if this has been discussed in St. Albans, but if they have anything to say about it, but I'm just.
Okay.
She just came on camera, so maybe she does. She waved.
Yeah, is there a comment to how they manage this in St. Albans?
I'm embarrassed to say I don't know. It's not my office, but I have worked in municipalities that require it physically in hand by the close of business. Can you hear me okay?
Okay.
On
Okay,
duty
hello.
and also postmarked.
Okay, well, it's gonna be addressed for sure. If the post office is making the change, we're gonna have to deal with
Yeah.
the ramifications.
So just,
We have a public comment. Is there anybody online has something they want to bring out? Okay, getting right into the town budget.
Angela has her hand up.
Angela? Was that Angela? Yeah.
You're muted,
muted.
Angela.
I will just say, Angela, before you unmute, we were gonna make you the first item of the town budget.
Okay,
conversation.
very well. Okay,
So,
thank you.
I think, right?
Yes. Yes.
You
Yes.
missed it, you weren't on yet, but we,
Confusion, thank you.
so do we want to just start with Cutler?
Yes, let's start with Cutler. I happen to have it printed out here, if anyone wants to see it.
You got copies?
Did everybody get a copy of the budget? It was sent.
Yes.
Okay, great, great. So the Cutler's budget this year is a modest increase. We understand that everybody is struggling at this time. It's a $2,000 increase in the appropriation. It's about a 3.5% increase in the budget overall. I think it's relatively self-explanatory in the sense of what our economy is doing right now. We have tried very hard to keep that into consideration. But I'm more than welcome to take any questions, any concerns, or talk with you more about what you might see.
Well, thank you for that, and thank you to the folks who worked on this to keep it a modest increase. Do you have any questions specifically?
I'll just say from I think the early budgeting of our treasurer, that fits into the budget without any issue.
Yes. Yeah.
And this needs to get warned as a separate article.
correct.
Is there anything stands out, either increases or decreases, that you would like to point out, programming or anything like that?
It isn't really in keeping with what we're doing. We're not looking to expand very much at this point. The library's goal, or my goal as a director, is to provide stability, maintain what we have, make sure it's solid and stable so that we can weather the storm that's upcoming. The one area in which we hedged or waffled was the electricity. We hope to see that go down in the future because we had put in the LED lights. We have seen some of that, but it's hard to project, especially with electricity being a commodity that is on the very high level of inflation at this point. So we were very mindful of that. And we hope to see it come down next year. Otherwise, we are solid, stable. We're here for the community, and that's the goal for the coming year.
Great.
Sounds great. Thank you, Angela.
Any other thoughts, questions? I think you sold us. It'll be up to the voters, but we'll put it in this way and as a warned item, and we'll deal with it at town meeting.
All right. Well, thank you so much.
Yes, thank you. You too, Mary.
So last year, so we do include this when we put our budget together, right?
Yeah, I think
Yes.
we include all of the article requests, just because it is part of the overall budget.
And same thing, I was gonna say, same thing for social concerns, I know.
Social
we do
concerns,
Yep.
Green Mountain Transit, like all of the separate articles are also within the full budget that we
And
present.
then depending on what the voters do, we adjust the total at the end.
Yes,
Yeah.
yep.
So do we need a motion to include, or we'll just do that?
And I think I think as we said last month too, like I think whenever we finalize the budget, we will just approve the budget and we have to approve the articles. But I think we should do it all at once rather than doing it
Yep, that makes sense.
piecemeal.
Yep. Okay, what's another item on the budget, is the social
Social
security?
concerns. Yeah,
Yeah.
we received their minutes of their meeting and also a spreadsheet. And when we first got the information, there was a discrepancy, but there does not appear to be a discrepancy
updated the
anymore.
spreadsheet.
So the numbers on the spreadsheet match their minutes and their request.
And did we not review this also?
We did already review it, there was just a discrepancy.
Okay,
So I can't remember, I think it was around the senior center, and like, one of them said 4650 and one of them said 4500. They both say 4650 now. So there's a narrative document that was shared last time
Yeah.
called the Social
Yeah.
Concerns Committee Report to the Select Board for Town Meeting. And then there's also their budget. This is not it.
Was this at the last meeting? Because there's nothing in the minutes of the discussion of social concerns.
We definitely talked about, yeah.
Yeah, it didn't make the minutes.
Oh, I haven't looked at the minutes from the last meeting, so.
Yeah,
We did discuss it, though.
yeah, I thought so.
yeah, we did. I remember. And I remember the discrepancy, I'm glad they straightened it out. Okay,
And then we've got Green Mountain Transit.
Yeah, there are two numbers, the rural and the other number, I think I sent you, did I send that?
You just sent the GMTA one. I haven't, the rural community transit.
You haven't seen, okay, I'm
Well,
sorry.
that came like 6 weeks ago, so it wasn't resent.
I-
Both of them are asking for the same amount as last year.
Pretty much, I think that they're the same number, I couldn't change, I'm sorry.
$14.99 for the one.
And then one is, the other one, the rural transit is 6,000, I think, 6,000 something?
It was the same number.
Yeah.
yeah, I think people recognize, the fire department also, they recognize that we don't want to see many increases. So even the social concerns are thinking about that. Okay. Which is the one that goes up East Hill Road to pick people up?
I think that's rural transit.
That's rural transit,
Rural
okay.
transit, so one is,
See that hand raised, Sarah Macy.
Yeah, I see a hand up.
Thank you. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. I have a copy of the working budget spreadsheet up, and I'm inclined to make some of these notes on my end. Could you repeat the numbers that you just gave for the rural bus service and the GMTA bus service, please?
I don't know that I have the exact number on me. I think it's the same as last year. Off the top of my head, it's 6,000 something.
Let me,
It looks like 6,900 even for rural. And then
Correct.
the number that came through for the other was 1,432.
That sounds right.
1,499
Sorry.
1,499. Thank you very much.
for GMT,
for GMT, yes.
And 6,900 for rural. Thank you.
And Sarah, while you're there, the Cutler Memorial Library line should be 56,000. I made a comment, but that should be in
Perfect.
the,
Thank you so much.
Okay, yeah, thanks for that clarification.
Could just, the RCT
Yep,
was $6,833.06.
really, okay.
well, I mean, they're literally
A
taking
percentage,
our amount divided by the whatever.
yeah, yeah,
It's actually more suspect when they ask for a round number. I think.
yeah.
I was so shocked at the precision, I forgot to write it down. Could you give it one more time, please?
$6,833.06.
Okay, thank you.
Don't lose the 6 cents, whatever you do.
I promise it'll be there at the end.
Okay,
I'll confirm tomorrow.
Yeah.
So just.
yeah, we should confirm it tomorrow.
Confirm it tomorrow.
And then the other piece, I don't see Dan Caddy. You had said that Dan was gonna make
I thought he's on.
a constable.
Right, it was basically, he was gonna advocate for a line item, for miscellaneous expenses, I didn't get the exact figure from him, but I think it's in the area of a couple $100, like $200, $300 for various things that he has needed to buy in terms of, supplies and so forth.
Yeah.
He's been quite active and spent
Well, he's, yeah.
a great deal of time on stuff, and I think he's shown great judgment and dedication, so whatever number he wants to put forward, I would think the board would want to be supportive, but that's
Yes,
my view.
and I would ask, how does he deal with mileage? Do we pay a mileage?
I think that I think that there's sort of a lump stipend.
Okay.
I don't know that
Yeah.
it's exactly.
So that
I know
helps.
that we used to do mileage and hours and all that, but I think that it just became a lump stipend.
Yeah, okay, sort of like the select board.
There you go.
Yeah, okay. For those who don't know, Dan Caddy is our constable. I mean, if it's in that order of magnitude, I'm sure we can just
Yeah, I guess,
do that.
one question would just be where it goes in the budget, whether there's a line within our, public safety that it goes, or if it goes, I don't know, into office supplies or there's a bunch of different lines.
Right.
Because they're all tied to accounts within NEMRIC, so.
I would think it would be best, obviously this is Josh's call, but I would think it would be best twinned somehow with the actual constable position to break out the expense versus general office supplies, but that's just,
Yeah.
maybe Josh has a different opinion, but I'm just.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, no, it might just be another.
could go
line
either
or
way,
somewhere
yeah.
that goes within the public safety
Yes.
section.
Who's that?
Michael.
Michael.
Oh, Michael? Michael?
You're on mute, Michael.
Can't hear you.
We still can't hear you.
Michael, you're muted.
I mean, I think he knows that. His finger's touching the screen a lot,
Okay.
so he's trying to probably unmute
Oh,
unsuccessfully.
it's on the telephone. It can be challenging sometimes.
Yeah.
I did find the RCT letter, that is the right number.
Oh, good.
The 683306.
There we go. Hi, can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay,
Got you
thank you.
now.
I typically don't attend by my phone, and I don't have very good control. Anyway, I wanted to say that when I recruited Dan, that I had said at the time of recruiting that he would be paid a stipend and mileage. So it's up to you how to interpret that, but the stipend is in recognition of his service. The mileage is in response to out-of-pocket expenses that he would need to be reimbursed for. And I had said that to him at the time we talked about him becoming constable in the first place.
Did the select board not have an interview with him? And
We should just ask him.
we'll ask him what he
Rather
understands.
than,
Yeah.
maybe he is getting mileage and we don't know, let's just ask him.
Yeah.
And we can
Okay.
always make sure that there's a line item for it. I don't think without him here, it doesn't make any sense to discuss it.
Yeah, when he comes on, we'll ask him. When he,
Okay, okay.
Yeah. Thanks. Okay, and who else do we have here?
What are the, are there other outstanding, are there other outstanding, budgets that, we've gone through a lot of the main ones. We did listers, we did fire department, we did highway, we did office staff, we did salary. We're obviously waiting for revenue, is the big piece, but is there other pieces that like the recreation department hasn't been in, I don't think. Town hall opera has, I'm just looking through these categories.
Yeah,
And we
that's
talked
great.
through like all that social concerns we've done.
We did have a request from the Conservation Commission the other day. I think we have that from Rose Paul. Because I remember I sent her an email because she had a request for $150 for a movie licensing fee to show a film. And I said, what is all this? And she says, well, in April, we want to show a film because it's It's called Dark Skies, and it's about light pollution. She says that she wants to show that in April. I said, are you talking about this April? In which case that has to come out of this fiscal year's budget.
Right.
And she said, oh, well, I guess we'll just ask for donations or whatever, so that shouldn't be in there. But she did send us an email within the past week that has the Conservation Commission stuff in there.
Oh, the budget?
Yes.
Yeah,
Not seeing that.
Yeah, maybe it didn't go to everybody.
I didn't see it, but I was away, so.
They sent, I know that they sent the town report documents that I think also had,
I haven't gotten anything from Rose since December 2nd, so it may have been an incomplete list of
Yeah,
select board
same.
members.
Let me see what I can find here.
I mean, something we can also discuss next week, but if it
Yeah,
isn't
look-
easy to find, but I just want to make sure if we're thinking through, and have we talked through, the other thing I guess we haven't talked through is our contract with the sheriff, our ambulance service, like, solid waste. Like, I think the public safety budget itself has not been discussed. It's one of the areas that hasn't,
Okay.
that we have not discussed yet. So I wonder if we want to
Yeah,
try to do that.
do we have
next
any, do
week.
we have any figures that we can?
Well,
look
there
at?
are,
And the Recreation Committee.
and the Recreation Committee.
And
There
rec-
are figures in the sample budget. I don't know if those are based on conversations with,
Yeah,
like the sheriff's.
What's the figure for the sheriff's department?
Last year it was 10,000 even, and this year it says 11,100.
That sounds right. But
Yeah.
I'll double check.
And if we could look at the ambulance service, I know we had the whole ambulance service conversation earlier in the
All
year.
right, I found the Rose Paul conservation thing. It was sent to the treasurer, Select Board 8, Select Board 7, the town clerk, and then copies to Mo Lynch, Becky Atkinson, Julie Hathaway, and the rest of the commission.
Yeah.
Okay. Says, I'm sending this to several people since I know Josh has been out sick. And their request for 2026, for the next fiscal year, is $350 operating funds, $2,000 to the conservation fund, which is standard, $100 for the Green Up Day fund, and $150 for the Dark Sky movie fee, which she then took off the table, realizing that she was in the wrong fiscal year.
yeah,
The total request of $2,600, so subtract $150, so $2,450.
That's definitely within the budget that we had here. I don't know if we've, once we contract with Sarah, we can forward those to Sarah and she can update the spreadsheet. So that should be easy, because it's.
that should be, it sounds like
It's within what we have room for, it looks like.
yeah,
So, rec department, public safety.
One you mentioned where we had gotten discussion and some options on the town office budget and town personnel, different models. And I believe the range was something like 272,000 to 300,000, depending on the model.
the model, yeah.
And so, we probably need to have a discussion about what the number needs to be in there. And we can probably separate that from the model, which gives us the
Yeah,
latitude of figuring out the model, because we would have the number in there. I did have,
and he does have in this two of the examples. He has an example A and an example B in this master document with numbers already there.
yeah,
So we
yeah,
can-
which come from the
Yeah,
separate
from the models,
sheets that he
yeah.
had given us. This does get into the bigger discussion of the overall revenues and what we need to then raise by municipal taxes and then non-tax revenue. Last year, our non-tax revenue was about 300 and something thousand. Next year, it's probably going to be in the $2 million range, mostly because of federal highway and FEMA reimbursements.
Right,
And I did meet with Karen Hatcher on Friday and go over this, and we were texting with Josh during this. And it raised a couple of questions, which are not resolved in my mind yet, but, and Karen and I exchanged a couple of emails today about this, which is, how much do we need, and how does Josh account for this in the ledgers? The money that comes in and gets set aside for those FEMA projects that are not yet completed, and there are a couple of those. How also the books handle the monies received and then paid out to integrity. And we're not paying out a lot to integrity. A lot of that's going to come under, I think it's category 7, which doesn't happen until the very end of the process for
Right.
administrative costs.
See.
But there are some numbers there, and how the interest and principal payments on the short-term debt are covered in there. Those are pieces that need to get nailed down,
Right.
as well as, you know, where we put those monies. From a 35,000 foot level, you may recall Josh proposed putting a lot of that money into the reserve funds for highway-related things, bridges, culverts, et cetera. There were some significant increases.
Yep.
And I think Dan did the calculation that in that department alone, it was a 17% increase in expenditures, but it didn't account for the revenue side yet. And so I think that as a concept, I would propose that we assume and we do put money into those reserve funds as Josh had suggested. And that is, the source of that is coming from those federal reimbursements. And we spent some time, Carol and I, and Josh has done some of this as well, sort of where these dollars are falling in the calendar and fiscal years. There's more money that's coming in during the current fiscal year that started to flow, the bulk of which will flow into the next fiscal year between July 1 and June 30th. And there may be a short tail that spills into fiscal year 2028 at the end of this. If we would assume that the source of revenue for the large increases in those reserve funds is these federal funds, then I think we're not at risk of what happens with municipal taxes. If the federal funds don't come in the same level, then the amount put into those reserve funds just isn't the same, but we've protected the general operating budget with our municipal fees.
It gives us flexibility as well. If
Yes.
there's money, if those funds are in the reserve accounts, we
Yes,
we
and
have
you know,
flexibility.
there is, it not only gives us flexibility, but it will be earning interest in there, et cetera. I did not get a chance to connect with the woman at the League of Cities and Towns who Josh had sent in a text that says some of this goes into Fund 504, and I forget what the number is, and 509. And again, that's Josh territory that I don't fully understand. But Josh did say that by doing this with these federal funds, and again, I'm flying at 35,000 feet here, that we can keep our municipal tax increase to about 2.5%. Now, I know that's his goal, and I know that we still have to sharpen the pencils and go through here, but to me, that's an acceptable goal. That's a desirable goal, given what's happened with school budgets and other things.
Yeah.
And, you know, it allows for, you know, the general operating budget to inflate slightly with inflation and be covered by that without hitting the taxpayers with a large bill.
Okay. I see Karen is on. Just, do you want to chime in here, Karen? You and Peter spent a lot of time.
Yeah,
on
I
this.
can. I think Peter summarized our conversation pretty well. I was able today to really dig in a little bit with the integrity group on the FEMA side of things and tried to kind of parse out when we expect to see dollars and how much and which dollars are unreserved, are unrestricted dollars and which dollars need to be held for projects that are uncompleted. And, essentially, and I have sent those numbers over to Peter, but of the 1.2 million that we have in projects with FEMA, about a 500,000 of it needs to be held for projects to be done. But the remaining number, which is, 750,000, will be unrestricted and will arrive between, next month and through the fiscal year of 2027, which is our upcoming year. So we could expect, $750,000 to work with from the FEMA side, above and beyond. And that is a conservative number because there's still some costing being done that hasn't been finalized, but those are pretty good numbers. In addition to the FEMA numbers, there still is $640,000 in reimbursement due from Federal Highway, which is reimbursement from damage measures that we took and spent. I'll be meeting with Jamie on Wednesday because she met with Josh, and we've shared some files so I can get a real sense of the kind of the timing of getting the paperwork done to be able to have that money flow in. But it's likely that we will see some of that money in the fourth quarter of this fiscal year and some of that money then into next year. So that also is money that, again, has been spent, is reimbursement. The thing that the board needs to remember, and this is a Josh question, but what is the expectation from the bond bank about repayment? Because these funds were expended out of the $1 million bond bank loan. And we do understand that half of that needs to be paid back, but the timing of the pay down and the interest payments and that question is still a question. However, we will have cash to be working with in all the good ways that we can work with it and to maximize earning interest and also then paying down principal on essentially what is a line of credit from the bond bank that allows us to have money to continue over the next several years to complete the projects and do the matches and all the things that need to be done with the variety of projects that are going to happen on Brook Road and all around town. So that's kind of again, Peter went 35,000 feet. I kind of brought it in a little bit, but we still, there's still some unanswered questions, but suffice to say, there's going to be cash that if well invested, we'll have to use and also can, benefit the town.
Thank you for that. Peter, you have a follow-up?
Well, yeah, I was just going to jump in when you finished up with the FEMA money, which you said about 750,000. We were working around 800,000. The 10% match for the 3 committed Brook Road projects right now is about $800,000.
Yep.
So if you figure that those two are roughly equal, then you have to consider what Karen just described as what the bond bank expectations are for payback, interest and principal, the timing of that. Then you also have to consider what comes in during this calendar year and is thus a surplus to start the new year, which we have the authority to use to apply to buy down taxes. So that if, as we sharpen our pencils and go through this budget, and we find we're at 3.5% as opposed to a target of 2.5%, we can use some of that to get us to that point. Non-tax revenue to cover that. Now, when you get out into 28 and 29, the town is going to face a different issue, and that is that we don't have this one-time money coming in for match for major projects along the Brook Road, and the major outlays are going to be when those projects are actually constructed. So we're not going to have a major outlay for Mill Street Bridge next year. That will come the year after, and the same thing. And, yes, we'll have the 10% match set aside out of these monies, but as we move into the other projects, we are going to face, how are we going to pay for that? And that may require us to bond for that, quite frankly. Because those are long-term investments on things that we hope will last a long time.
Yep.
If done right this time.
I think Josh alerted us to that possibility of needing to get some more bond money. Well, that's
If I
great.
could
Thank-
just add one, could I add one
Yeah.
other thing, and that is, because Peter mentioned the integrity group, and we have spent money on this consultant to be able to generate the kind of response we're getting here in terms of being able to generate $1.2 million in FEMA reimbursement and the rest. That money, most of it, aside from the portion that is the 7.5% that we'll have to pay, will come back to us in what they call category Z, not 7, but that happens at the very end of the FEMA process, which is a closeout. So, so the money we have spent, which I believe amounts to $180,000 over the last 18 months, or thereabouts, we will see most of that come back in, and that will be a cash payment that is, again, unrestricted at that point, but probably not in this fiscal year coming, but probably the next.
Thank you. Yeah,
You're welcome.
the timing of all this is very critical.
Right.
Yep.
Okay.
Anything else that we can address tonight on the budget?
I think, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, just making sure someone's reaching out to get the pieces that we don't currently have.
You
So we
mentioned
need-
some.
We need,
I can email the people tomorrow.
the rec department,
Conservation,
Conservation Commission we have, we just went through it, but
Okay.
very briefly. Bob Atchison, Energy Coordinator, I mean, it's been a flat amount, I'm guessing it'll be flat. And then I was trying to find the public safety thing again, just to see make sure we have all
Dan,
the
could
pieces.
you just email me the different ones?
Yep.
Just so-
Ambulance and sheriff.
Yeah, but there was more on
Whatever
that.
you need, so you also,
List,
I
I
need to
just-
reach out to the bond bank, it sounds like, too, to get some clarity on that, no?
The bond bank clarity, I wonder if that's a you thing, or if that's a
Well,
Peter or Karen thing?
That's a different question. You're talking about the water bond and the
No,
paving
I was
bond?
talking about, you were saying in light of these funds coming in, we have to weigh what we owe the bond bank when, that seems to be unclear. Do you want me to reach out? I correspond with them every now and then.
This is the $1 million we borrowed.
Yeah, I don't know what Josh's, when we re-upped.
No, I understand, do you need clarity? It sounds like I should reach out and find out for this coming budget, wouldn't you need to know that, or am I wrong?
Yes, that is something we need to know, but Josh may already know that.
Okay,
Yep. And Karen, you had
Because
a,
he just renewed the bond with them, so he would know what the expectations are for payback.
I think he's been working with them. Karen, do you have a point there?
Yeah, I just wanted to say that I think certainly the terms of whatever the documents are would spell out what the terms are, but I think a conversation with the folks at the bond bank would be good to have just to get an idea of what their expectation is around repayment. Because at the beginning of this, we were in a different world where there was a fair amount of money flowing from the federal government to the states and whatever. And I just think that, if they had a pretty, I don't want to say it was a pretty open agreement with the town, like, you only need to pay half of this back because we know you're going to need cash, and we can be pretty flexible on the repayment. So I just think it's worth a conversation to find out if that's still the case or if things have changed, because cash flow is going to be what is important, right, in the scheme, and not paying too much interest and being able to making good decisions about that. So I think if Josh is going to be out for a while, maybe someone on the board should make a call and at least establish that relationship to just understand what they're thinking is all.
Okay, yep.
I mean, I have the name of the person. I mean, what concerns me is just, I think that we all ought to understand that Josh is dealing with a lot of stuff, and sometimes he doesn't speak as clearly. I'm concerned about a bond bank payment that I'm not sure has been paid, that it's not a huge amount, but I'm just saying, I think it would be good to get clarity from them about what they expect when. Because it's not like a regular invoice, it's not
Yeah.
like. so
I'd be happy to talk to them.
Yeah,
I
and
can get you the person to talk to.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Thank you, Peter.
Are you're in the office tomorrow?
Yes.
Yeah, all right, I'll touch base.
Great.
I'll do that.
yeah, and also a status of where we stand with them, if we've
Right.
made payments or not.
It's one payment, it's not a huge amount, but I just was looking through and I'm not sure that it's been paid, so I just want to make sure.
Yeah, we want to know that.
Right.
Yep, okay. Thank you, Peter, that would be great. Yes.
I think we've covered what the moving parts here, and I think folks understand what our potential choices are of how we allocate funds. I don't think we're at a point where we've sharpened the pencil enough yet, but I don't know, Dan, what your schedule is, but I would propose that a task force of two of us sit down and go through the general operating budget with a sharpened pencil and see if we can hit that target, and then come back to the full board with any recommendations, you know.
Do we know what the revenues are yet, though? We've always said that the revenue side is really critical to understand.
Well, I mean, there's the general ongoing revenues. You know, we're gonna get state aid to town highways. We're gonna have marriage fees and dog license fees and, you know,
Yeah.
all that stuff that's in there that, you know, this year added up to about 300,000. We have broad numbers, you know, that Karen and I have just gone over with FEMA and federal highways about what's coming in gross, and most of that is coming in prior to June 30th of 2027.
Okay,
So, you know, I think we can get there.
Mm-hmm.
And as I said, if we use those reserve funds as the places to park those monies, if a little less comes in, you know, the fact that we put $12,000 in the bridge reserve fund as opposed to 15,000 still puts us $12,000 further than if we would have done it out of general tax revenues.
We're
you know,
ahead,
so
for sure.
we're in good shape there, you know. You know, Josh's vision is that, you know, 5 years out, 10 years out, 15 years out, that an amount is put in each year that looks at the culvert replacement schedule, that looks at the bridge maintenance schedule, so that taxpayers are not shocked with a, you know, need to come up with a whole bunch of money all of a sudden because, you know, three bridges broke and we didn't have money set aside.
yep, yeah, no, it makes a lot of sense to have the reserves. What, I guess we could look through the budget, I mean, I could do that too, Dan's getting busy, I think, but,
I just wonder. Yeah.
Is it-
The only reason I suggest Dan is because he's very sharp and quick with the numbers, but
Yes,
I
yes.
know he's
What are you saying about
the legislative session. Just
I could probably find time on Friday,
Friday's a great day.
so as long as it's after 11, I think.
That's fine.
Yeah,
That'd be great.
we'll find a time after
Okay.
11 on Friday.
Okay.
and we've been given budgets by most of these departments that.
Yeah, I think
they-
it's all in the spreadsheet. I think it's just one of the things is I think the biggest conversation is just gonna be around the personnel costs and what we're
Yeah,
doing.
right.
And if we're making any changes to structure, which
That's.
personally, given everything else that's going on, feels like a very hard thing to do
Right now,
right now. And we have
Yeah.
a ticking clock of the number of, I don't know what I think the drop dead date for getting the town report done is the 26th of
I
January.
would like
or
it
something.
to be the 27th.
Yeah.
It's a drop dead date, actually.
So we're 3 weeks, we're 3 weeks away from having to have all the
Yeah.
decisions.
Right.
Everything.
But like I said, you know, if our number comes in, you know, between 272 and 300 in that, you know,
Or
then our options are
268 is what's in there right now, but yeah, sure. Yeah, let's find an hour on Friday to dig in at the municipal office.
Yeah.
Thank you
And,
both.
okay, I want to thank you, Bram, for putting this schedule together of critical dates, because
Thank Carol for getting the days.
I don't know how you guys keep track of it. It's
Doing this on a
real
Sunday.
critical. Okay, so you're going to report back to the select board next meeting?
Next meeting, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, that's great. And give us confidence in what we're
Yeah.
suggesting. Okay, any other budget-related items?
Do you mind if I interject?
Go right ahead.
We skipped a little bit over introductions and how I can help you all
It's-
during
we-
your.
We have that, we just did this backwards. It is coming up on the agenda.
Oh, good. Well,
Yes.
I just wanted to offer, if you're going to be working in the budget, I would love
Oh.
to join you. My Friday's I've got union negotiations, but I think it would be a very good use of my time in this project to work with you to get a sense of where are the holes, do all the numbers line up and everything. Okay. I'll let you get to me
All right,
soon.
I think the next item is gonna be a quick one,
Yeah,
Next one.
the articles.
articles for town meeting day.
So, looking at last year's town meeting warning, the articles that we will have, and I think we've talked about almost all of these. So there's elections of necessary officers, which is the ballot that isn't here. Hearing of town reports and acting on the same, social concerns, Green Mountain Transit, rural community transportation, Cutler Memorial Library. So those are all things we discussed today. The water line, the wastewater line, and the overall budget. So those are the warnings. I think other than waiting on water and wastewater to actually create their budgets,
And
bonds,
the tax dates.
well, yeah, I'm sorry, and the tax dates, yeah.
Just want to interject here. We're going to have 2 bond votes. Bond votes are warned differently than other votes. So what I was thinking of doing was referencing, saying in the town warning, we're going to have these bond votes via Australian ballot and reference a second warning. The lawyer preferred that we do 2 separate warnings for the same meeting because of the advertising cost and, in other words, like for the bond thing, you have to run 3 newspaper ads and all that. So just so that you know, in the structure of the thing, there'll be a paragraph saying, we're going to have these via Australia ballot, these bond votes, but it's a separate warning and here's the URL or whatever.
In the warning for last year, it says Article 1 to elect all necessary officers, including a moderator, and 2, adopt amendments to the zoning. Articles 1 and 2 will be voted by Australian ballot. I noticed that in your bond documents, you labeled them Article 1 and Article 2.
Correct.
So therefore, Article 3 would become to elect all necessary officers, and Article, et cetera.
Yeah, that was.
And you could say Articles 1, 2, and 3
Right.
to be voted by Australian ballot.
Yes, okay. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, you can just basically use the language from last year, but just
change
include,
the shift the
just
thing,
make sure
yeah.
we're including the 2 bond votes and the election of people.
Yes.
Yeah. That's a good point, because people do refer back to the previous
What are we voting
year.
on? Well, and also like, what are we voting on this year?
Yeah.
Look at
Yeah,
what-
and I think it's important to, the lawyer the reason why he labeled it 1 and 2 was, he was really thinking of just 2 completely separate. And I said, look, it has to be referenced in the town warning, because people are gonna wonder, wait a second, so, whatever, so.
What is the date, and I forget, from your schedule of when any petitioned article might come to us? What's the last
I
date?
think
The last
it's
day-
January 15th.
Yeah,
I
the last
think.
day is
15th.
Thursday, January 15th.
Yeah,
I'm not
15th.
aware of anything kicking around.
I'm not aware of anything either, nothing is coming.
No. We
But
we should
I'll
remind
let you
people,
know as soon as if something comes in, I'll let you know.
we should remind people that if they're interested in the select board, they should get the petition in.
That is till the 26th.
Oh, the 26th.
So if you wanted to add something, like
Ah.
add an article to the ballot on town meeting day, you need 5% of registered voters, and you need to have that in by January 15th. If you
Okay.
are running for office, you have until
The 20
January 26th to get your
Okay.
10
Yep.
signatures. Yeah, 1%, which is 10 signatures for us.
Yep, okay. Good. Town office support.
Where do we start?
Where do we start?
Peter, do you want to lay this out? You've been,
Well, I can lay what, I have knowledge of some parts of this.
Yeah.
Okay. I have not participated in the meetings with the town staff, like Francis Rose has at the office.
No, I have too, yeah.
On Friday, when Karen and I were going over the revenues, particularly the federal highway and the non-municipal tax revenues, and Josh was with us via text. Bram walked in with a phone with Sarah Macy on the line, said,
Yes.
this is someone who, Josh has suggested as a potential fill-in. He also mentioned someone else from the League of Cities and Towns, because he's been working with the league to help train new treasurers. They have a working group that's, as you know, they're good about doing training manuals for.
It was that individual who actually recommended Sarah.
Okay.
So that's how.
So that's how it came. So anyway, so we talked briefly with Sarah, and she asked, some questions about how we did our budget and whatnot. So, and then I did notice today, and I haven't had a chance to study it because I was at work today, but Karen did send us a proposal.
Sarah did.
Sarah did, and
Sarah
we,
sent us a proposal, and I did pull up the proposal. Last year, we hired some temporary help to replace Bram. Carol Dawes came in, and there was an hourly rate with a figure not to exceed and a description of what we expected. It looked, from the perfunctory glance that I took at what Sarah sent us, that's the sort of model she used, but I haven't gotten into the details of it.
If I could just, the goal here, we have, the drop dead date of January 27th. And in terms of receivables from Josh, that Josh is responsible for the town report, we have the town treasurer narrative, a reserve and cash, revenues and cash on hand, balance sheet, statement of taxes raised, and the select board actual proposed budget. Those are the sort of items. So in evaluating hiring Sarah, I think that the board should focus on who's going to be responsible for those deliverables. Obviously, the town treasurer narrative is not something that Sarah has proposed to do. That's something that can be figured out. That's just the words. But the numbers are more significant. So that's the question before us. Getting those ready by the 27th.
yep.
Carl, would this be an appropriate time to have Sarah introduce herself and talk with her, or?
I think it would be, if nobody has an objection. Yeah, Sarah, why don't you, I was just looking over your qualifications, and they're very much appreciated and look like you could do the job.
Well, thank you. So I'm Sarah Macy. I'm the Director of Finance and Administration for the City of St. Albans. I've worked in Vermont municipal government for 17 and a half years, all the way from the bottom to the top in the finance department. I started out with the city as the payroll clerk, AP clerk, water and sewer, billing. I did my undergraduate studies at UVM, where I double majored in political science and professional accounting. I have a master's degree in governmental accounting from Rutgers University, and I'm a certified public finance officer through the Government Finance Officers Association of the United States and Canada. I have spent a couple semesters teaching governmental accounting at UVM. I've been the president of the Vermont Government Finance Officers Association. I'm a current board member of the New England States Government Finance Officers Association, and I'm a regular presenter at local and regional conferences. So to sum all that up, I'm a governmental accounting super nerd. And I have the capacity in the next couple of weeks to help out in any way that you need that involves numbers and spreadsheets. My budget in the city is headed to the finance committee tomorrow evening. And so I'm in a spot where I could spend some working hours during the week, evenings and weekends, assisting to fill in some of the ways that Josh isn't currently able to, and to help you all get this over the finish line. I have summarized in my proposal what I see the specific deliverables and the timeline to be. I think Graham just identified them. So all of the numbers, components of the town report. So the revenues and cash, the balance sheet, the budget proposal. I'm sure there was another one. I think there's 4 there. And I spent some time this afternoon familiarizing myself with your trial balance and your general ledger and the budget workbook that we've been working on this evening. And I think overall, we do things a little bit differently in the city of St. Albans, but the debits and the credits always have to match at the end of the day. And I think that I'm well suited to help you out as you need. And I'd be happy to answer any questions you have.
Questions?
No, I'm looking at her deliverable sheet. I think, you know, the select board, whether it's Dan and I, but the whole board, I think we're going to be able to help a lot on the actual proposed budget. I think the balance sheet, the statement of taxes, raised revenue, cash on hand, places where we definitely need your help. So
happy to help there.
Yeah. Yeah, Graham.
So, Sarah, I discussed with you this briefly. I don't think that we will need your help regarding water and sewer, but I do want to note that Josh is an integral part of that organization as well. And I have some concerns regarding their getting their figures together. And I don't know, in our town, the water sewer department is run strictly from revenues from the users. But ironically, the board, we're coming up with a bond vote, and the board will, all the voters of the town would accept that, as there would be liability for the taxpayer. But what I'm just throwing out there, getting out there, is just like, for example, I know that there was supposed to be a budget meeting today, and it got canceled because people not showing up and so forth. Another member of the commission, in addition to Josh, has illness. So I just want to make the board aware, and Sarah aware, that there might be some need for a little bit of help in that department.
Those consulting fees would be paid for by the water wastewater.
I would think that
So it'd be a separate consulting contract.
I think that might be a separate matter, but I just wanted that to be on people's radar. I'm just concerned about it.
Mm-hmm. Any other questions for Sarah or comments?
But I guess we just heard a question come up, which is, you've offered 40 hours or an amount not to exceed 40 hours. Should water and wastewater budgeting appeal to you to add to your list of things you could do for this town, and that exceeded 40 hours, do you have capacity to do that?
I do have some capacity. Is the deadline for water and sewer the same as for the general fund budget?
Unfortunately, it is. It is. So, that's why when their meeting was canceled today, my heart kind of sank, because we're supposed to have everything ready. Once again, the drop dead date is the 27th, but if we can get it earlier, that's even better. So it's of concern, and I don't know. I think, ironically, because of Carol Smith's diligence, the figures on that are much more robust and clear. And I haven't discussed this with Carol or anything, but I'm sure she would welcome the help. But I'm just throwing it out there.
Well, the 3 municipalities I've played finance director for, City of St. Albans, the town of Milton, and the 2 Essexes, all have had water and sewer and stormwater entities. So I'm well versed in enterprise fund budgeting as well as general fund budgeting. So it's certainly something I could help with. Hearing this evening how involved the select board is in the budget, I think that my 40-hour cap is ample time to help you with what you need on this general fund budget. In the city of St. Albans, I own the budget, and so I was expecting to take on a lot more of what this board is doing. So I would need to look at the water and sewer budgets where they are and get a sense, familiarize myself with those charts of accounts, but I would be certainly happy to do that and then propose either an amendment to the scope or let you know if I think it would go outside of that 40 hours. I mean, we really
That's
are
wonderful. I'll get you the information tomorrow.
fantastic. You know, we are come down to the wire, so there are only so many hours I have available. It might just be the 40.
Yep,
Well, and again, it wouldn't be an addendum to this contract.
right.
They're
Sure, I
separate.
could put up a separate
Yeah.
scope.
Yeah.
Well, no, I just want to, yep.
Yes.
We do have to have some, we don't actually have decision-making power on the water, wastewater, like,
Right,
Yeah,
they have their own board,
They have their own board.
yep.
so.
They'd have to approve it, but
But that's a good point, and if we have expertise that's available
yeah.
in a short time frame,
Especially with the bond coming up, I just really want to.
yes.
Can I make a motion to enter into a consulting contract with Sarah Macy for budget services not to exceed $4,000 and allow Carl Bissix to sign the consulting contract?
Second.
And all those in favor say aye.
I,
Aye. Those opposed? You are in.
Thank
And
you.
I'll
I'm
sign
excited
it.
to work with you all.
Thank you,
Yes,
Sarah, for offering your services.
You're welcome.
I am going to sign this right now.
And Bram, if you would share Sarah's contact email, if we wanted to try to see if
I'll
the
send
two of
you,
us can meet with her when we do our
yeah.
conversation later in the week.
we might want to meet first, just
Either
to
way.
make it her time
Yeah.
efficient, so.
Yeah,
Okay. I'll get you that information
thank you.
first thing.
Okay, great. Grand list approval. We got a grand list from the listers.
Sandy sent.
Errors and omissions.
Yeah, so grand list errors and omissions, do you want me to just read this?
Yes, would you? Yes.
Yeah, so the request from the listers or the select board,
I'm putting,
please certify the 2025 grand list under errors and omissions. Grand list on July 3rd, 2025, $2,258, excuse me, $2,258,164. Grand list on December 31st, 2025, $2,257,993. Said that wrong again. Changes are due to the changes by the tax department for current use. There are also changes to homesteads due to late filing as follows. Original homestead values, $1,472,277. Ending homestead values, $1,523,637. Original non-residential values, $786,510. Ending non-residential values, $734,979. And, yeah, we just have to vote to approve it and sign this document.
well, can we have a motion?
I make a motion to certify the 2025 grand list under errors and omissions from the Board of Listers.
Second.
And all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
This is a
Okay.
standard once-a-year thing.
Yeah, and we'll all sign this one. And so the bond language approval, we
Right,
have,
so there are three documents. Two documents need to be approved, and I can't remember the declaration, and there's two declarations and one resolution. So the two declarations need to be, approved, and then I sign those, and then on the resolution, all four of you will sign.
okay, I have the declaration
On the
here.
warning.
On the,
Yeah.
yeah, I think it's called resolution or
That's,
something.
I may have printed this out.
No, the resolution is just the
Is
clerk.
there, do you have one in there?
yes.
Okay,
There's,
okay.
yes, I
The
have.
declaration and the resolution that just the clerk signs, and then there's the warning that all of us have to sign.
Right, okay, sorry.
And the ballot I think is,
Yeah, I
Just
threw
the
in all the
clerk, but that's just
documents,
your-
if the word, that's, I'll deal with that, yeah, that's just me.
That's the water one.
Yeah,
I
this
have
is
the
the water,
declarations. I
yeah.
don't know if I have the, I mean, this is the resolution, but I don't know.
We have the resolutions, but not the,
No, we have the declarations.
oh, we do, okay.
I don't know if we have, the warning we don't have yet, right? Or is that what this
Yeah,
is?
it should be.
here's the one.
I thought it
Oh,
was,
he just stapled the resolution to the warning.
should have your names. like-
So this one has your name on it, and it's stapled to the warning. Are these supposed to be two separate documents?
There's where you're supposed to
This is
sign.
the
Okay.
Yeah,
So-
that right.
But what are
there.
the votes we're supposed to take?
Well, I would say you should, the vote part of it is actually, I think all three, but I think you want to approve the declaration of official intent for, I don't know if you have to read the whole thing there's one for water and one for paving, and then signing this one.
Needs to be dated. If you're missing pattern, but the date.
The one that says declaration only covers the paving.
No, there's two declarations. Right here, water and paving. I've got two different ones from the folder.
Oh, okay, well, only one of them was sent out.
That's paving, that's water.
Okay, but then they're both combined in the other.
In the warning, because it's a one bond warning, yeah.
It's one warning for both of them, but these declarations.
So we need a motion for each one of those, and then one for the final warning.
I had questions.
Okay,
The simple question on the paving one is, we got an email this afternoon forwarded from Michael Bingham, basically saying that the one quote he has is for $150,000 for the paving project, divided into two parts. And this bond is for $250,000. So my question is twofold, two questions. One is, do we lower the amount of the bond because it's $100,000 over the quote? Or do we include a higher amount because we end up having to go to bid on this anyway? So I don't think this is a sole source, one entity contract.
mm-hmm,
Can I the bid that was sent was only for the section of Main Street from the Park and Ride to the Marshfield line. And the bond would be for, Main Street to the bridge, that extra as well.
The email we got this afternoon from Mike Bingham broke things into two parts. One was class 2 road and one was class 3.
Yeah,
And I don't think it went all the way to the bridge.
no, so class 2 was the fire department to the park and ride, and then class 3 was the park and ride to the town line,
To Maple Hill.
Maple Hill.
So it's, in other words, that's not a.
It's not the full project.
It's not the full project that he would like. And I said, we need a quote for the entire project, but it wasn't.
My last conversation with Josh was that this goes from the town line down to and including in front of the fire station. He never mentioned going further down Main Street.
Yes, I understand that, and I had the conversation with Michael, and Michael basically said that he felt he had overestimated that the cost of this project. When the bid came in, it was $150, and he said it would be a good idea to do the rest of the street as well. So, to do it all in one fell swoop rather than waiting. If you want to lower
So there's no quote for the additional 100,000? This is just,
That's exactly correct. We do not have the quote for the additional 100,000.
and am I correct that we have to put this out to bid anyway, given the dollars involved?
Yes.
I wonder if the $250,000 then is sufficient to cover all the way to the bridge. We don't have any idea.
Well, we don't have the quote.
Anyway, I thought that was the simpler of my questions. The more complex one involves the bond for the water line, okay? And I copied Carl on this, and I copied Josh on this, I think I copied you, and Eli Emerson, our bond counsel. The way it is written says that the entity responsible for paying, the people responsible for paying back this bond are the voters of the town of Plainfield, not the users of the system. And so I asked the question, and if I might, I can pull up Eli's response here. I asked him, I said, did he draft the documents? Yes. In response to your question, we could add language to the water bond article that says it is anticipated that the debt service will be paid by the water system user fees. However, note the current article language is written so that these would be general obligation bonds / notes. That means that the ultimate security for the bonds will be the full faith and credit of the town of Plainfield, which means the taxpayers of Plainfield. If the select board doesn't want this to be the case, the bonds should be revenue obligation bonds, not general obligation bonds, which means the security is the water system revenue. In order to do this, I would need to change the language in the bond article. That would be easy on my part. The bigger question is if lenders would have concerns about issuing revenue bonds as opposed to general fund. For example, they may see it as a riskier loan and give a higher interest rate. More importantly, some lenders might not issue revenue bonds notes. I am not sure if the Clean Water Revolving Loan Fund will accept a revenue note. We should check to make sure that is the case.
I had a discussion about this, the questions you raised. My understanding, I didn't actually review the documents, was that when sewer projects were funded in the past, it was the general obligation of the taxpayer. And the concern about changing that has to do really specifically with our ability to get somebody to back. I mean, in my view, I think that there might be some skepticism from certain people in the public, but I mean, I don't really see the taxpayer not being at some risk. In other words, if the revenue bond portion of it, if you present it as a revenue bond and that doesn't work out, what's the reality? I mean, the reality is the taxpayer is going to come in. No? I mean, we're going to have a water sewer plant in Plainfield, right? So I think we're parsing words. I mean, I think that it would be more prudent in order to secure the funding and for the taxpayer to understand that it just be straightforward, a taxpayer obligation. No?
I would think it's the users of the system that should pay for the system.
I don't disagree with that, but what I'm saying is that...
And I don't believe that that's the way this is currently written.
It's not, but the point is that in all likelihood, if everything is budgeted correctly, what you're saying will happen, okay? We will have the users of the system pay off the bond. What I'm saying is that in reality, if we put that in writing, it makes it much harder to execute the project. And in the past, as I understand it, in the past, the town has backed this. In other words, we're departing from how things were done in the past if we go this route. I think technically you're right, but in reality, if the users of the system can't pay for the bond, what's going to happen?
I don't know the answer to that question, and I'm not sure I need to. We have an odd critter here, which straddles through two town lines. You know, we have users in both Marshfield and East Montpelier. And, Dan asked the question when we were talking privately about, do we ask people in those towns to vote on this bond and they have a special vote just for this? I don't know, that's.
Well, yeah, I said
complicated.
if we didn't do this as a town bond, and it was a users of the system bond, then it wouldn't just be a Plainfield vote. It would be all the users of the system, and it would be a separate, and not everybody in Plainfield would vote, and not everybody in Marshfield or East Montpelier would vote, it would just be the people, because I don't think you guys are on the system, right?
No.
Yeah.
I mean, part of the problem that I have here is that I don't think philosophically you're wrong, but I think at this point, with the state of the water board the way it is, and the fact that this project has been delayed for close to 4 years.
4 years.
4 years.
And the numbers haven't changed.
Yeah, I don't know.
And we just replaced half the line because of the break. I'm just wondering if the numbers are right. And when I saw that the commission didn't meet today, I had the same, feeling that you did.
Peter, I think as a fiduciary for the taxpayer, you're doing the right thing in asking the question. I would just say that in reality, in order to get this over the line, I think that you should go ahead with the language. That's just my opinion. If you feel differently about it.
Well, I don't feel compelled to vote tonight on this.
Okay.
We don't have to vote tonight on
Right,
this. Okay?
exactly.
Eli did raise some of the same questions and says they should be looked into. And I agree with that. What we didn't get to, because this all happened this afternoon, was, okay, who's going to follow up, who's going to ask the questions and figure this out.
Is Eli the person you're talking to about the bond that we have, the $1 million bond?
He's our bond attorney.
Yeah.
Right, but
Yes.
is he the one you're gonna talk to about this other bond? You're gonna follow up?
No, I think that's directly with the lender. Karen can reply.
Okay,
She's still on.
Okay, I don't think
Correct
she
me
is.
if I'm wrong, but we'll find out who that is.
Once again, I totally hear where you're coming from, and I don't disagree. What my concern is that given the state of the board, I don't know that you're gonna get answers before the 27th.
Well, no,
But obviously, you can delay, and
Yeah,
I
and
think it's fine.
I'm concerned, well, it's not the board so much that I'm concerned with, it's the legalities here and the responsibilities of the users of the system. I went through and I went on the town website and I read if you go down under Government Water Wastewater Commission, there's an ordinance, there's a policy. I read those documents, nothing in there addresses bonding or borrowing for the system. It's all about connection fee, impact fee, connection fee, and user fee. Nothing about financing of the system. And so, the next question is, what's been done in the past? Now, you see.
My understanding, and once again, I didn't review the documents, but my understanding, I asked Carol, when bonds were raised, was the town, the taxpayer and the town, the first in line to get the hit as things go south? And her response was, yes, that's the way it's been done in the past. I didn't see the documents, but that was our understanding.
Right.
And I think if we had a more robust, active board, a lot of what you're talking about, I think, would have been addressed in regular meeting. I mean, I think that's exactly right.
And in talking to Carol about this on Friday, this bond was originally slated to go before the voters 4 years ago at this amount. And so I wonder whether this is the right amount. In the meantime, we had a major break and about half the line has been replaced. Carol said that Josh has applied for some money to help pay for that. I don't know if that's a grant or what, didn't have a chance to follow up on that. And so I don't know whether this is the right number, okay? The second thing is, she said that the last time this had gotten ready to go to vote, it came to the select board in January of 2024, and Jim Volz was authorized to sign the documents and did. And then it didn't go forward. Not sure why.
Because the town clerk dropped the ball, and it wasn't me.
Okay. Right.
Just to be clear.
Right.
Well, that's interesting that the select board chair, last time this came up.
Well, they already voted, so the select board already voted.
So isn't it
before the
already,
voters.
is it already in place?
Well, no, but we didn't warn it and we didn't vote on it.
But it has been
It
warned and
apparently
voted
had
on.
been in 2024.
No, it wasn't warned for the voters. Jim Voles signed
Right,
these
right.
documents.
And then it never went
It
forward.
would never went on the ballot, so it has not gone before the voters.
Right,
It was approved to go
Right,
before the
right.
voters, but it has not been before the voters because of administrative issues. So it sounds like in both of these cases, both the 250 and the 700, we may not get perfect answers, but we do have a couple weeks left. We should try to get the best answers we can. If for paving, we only need 150, or we need 200, or we need 250, and then obviously there's a lot more questions on the water. It seems like rather than voting on anything tonight, we should at least try to have the best number possible
Yeah.
in both of these cases.
and we should know what the history was and is. Yep.
Something we had articulated in the town office staff discussion, a disconnect that exists between the Water Wastewater Board and the Select Board. They're an independent entity, yet we are dependent upon one another clearly,
And we appoint them.
and we appoint them. And so, I think this circles us around to the design question of how to integrate, at least conversationally, between the boards so that we can hash some of this out in real time rather than having our conversation over here while they have their conversation over here. And Carol finds herself in the middle, which is not her choice
No.
to be. And so I guess, this is a moment for us to just address, how do we design ways to connect with the Water and Wastewater Board?
Well, or disconnect. The thought had occurred to me, I mean, we have in the state of Vermont all kinds of special districts, that are not concurrent with town boundaries. And, I think that we might spend some time investigating what those might be, that, perhaps the Water and Wastewater Commission needs to be an independent standalone entity and run its own business, I'm not advocating for that, I'm just wondering,
Well, what's the most efficient way to operate both
Yeah,
entities?
It doesn't
is really-
solve this issue at this point, but, the concerns that we all have with the commission, I think, beg answers.
Yeah,
So, I hear you. That's an interesting idea. I hadn't considered to disconnect. And that disconnection is probably not an imminent solution. And so, I'd like to
Well, I think
address.
with two different illnesses on the current commission, I don't know that we would need the commissioners to be with us in a room to figure out communication. We can't, as just one side of the conversation, figure out what the best way to communicate is.
Right.
And I don't know that this moment where they have very urgent needs that get to the budget, and they have two of their commissioners out with illness, this is probably not the moment where we're actually gonna be able to solve this problem. We're gonna have to use stopgaps, at least for this month, and look at it again in February or after the town meeting. When the new select board is seated, maybe that's the moment. That's my opinion.
I will also raise, there's an active member, a former member of the commission who stepped back due to fiduciary concerns. I think that person, I'm going to press on the board, I think it would be great to get that person back on the committee.
The unofficial communicator?
Yes, I really think that would really go a long way to sort of solving a lot of the things that you've raised. And just in general, that's just my opinion. Nothing against anybody else who's serving, who's decided to serve, it's great. One of the restrictions we have in terms of recruiting people is they have to be a user of the system, which, shrinks the pool of people who could serve. That's the other challenge. So.
Yeah. And I'm guessing right now, is there 3 members on there right now, or is it just 2?
Just 3.
I think
It's Mary and Scott and Josh.
yeah.
And is it a 3-person board?
I think, I'm not sure if it's 4 or 5, I'm not
Okay.
sure.
I did, and I'm guessing, all three of those folks are from Plainfield. Like, we don't have a Marshfield resident or a
Not
East
allowed, they
Montpelier.
have to be a user, actually, you're
Well, I
right.
mean,
actually,
well, they
you're
could
right.
be, because they're,
You're right.
our
you're right.
users
They're a
go.
user of the system, I guess, yeah.
Yeah,
That's
anyway,
criteria.
just as
Yeah.
a-
Yeah, no, we don't.
I don't know where the system goes to, but we might even want to think to
Yeah,
look
Bunker
at.
Hill, and,
Yeah.
there
Yeah.
are places, and.
Yeah, if it's
East
system
Montpelier,
users, it
Pasco,
could be out of
We
town.
can steal volunteers from other towns, that's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Well, I hope so, yeah. Okay, so we'll just table that. I'll reach out, get some answers, and also,
Yeah, and I will follow up with Eli and see.
right, if it's possible to have Tim on the call when you're talking to Eli, that might help answer questions, because, I think that he might have historical information and so forth. Whatever you want, I'm just throwing it out there.
All right.
Okay, so we're tabling that.
Yep.
How are we following up with the paving bond in terms of the additional 100,000?
Well, I requested today, a full quote, and I'll see if we can expedite and get the full quote ASAP.
And answer the question, or get maybe Michael Bingham's official response to the select board of what stretch of road are we talking about and how much are you
so
asking for?
Just to be clear in my
You sent
conversation.
the breakdown of the 150.
Well, that's the quote, but that doesn't mean that's what he
So
wants.
Let me
Well, it
just.
tells you what the sections are.
No,
No.
but I don't, but what Bram is saying is
Right.
that there is an additional section
So
that's
let me-
not part of that quote.
Yeah, let me just back up here, because I think there's a little bit of confusion. The initial project was from the firehouse to the Marshfield Town line. And I asked Michael, I said, so what's that gonna cost? And I think his number in his head from a bunch of stuff was 220. And I said, well, okay, 220, that sounds like we need to go 250. And he called me today and said, I was completely wrong, it's 150. And I said, well, should we change the number, make it lower? And he said, well, we really shouldn't do this piecemeal. We should go from the bridge all the way, and I think that the 250 would cover that. That's sort of the view from 50,000 feet of what he said. And I said, that's all great. You need to get me a quote from the bridge to the Marshfield Town line. So that's what the confusion is.
I think it makes sense to do it that way, but we need a number, right?
No,
So-
that's what
Yeah.
I said.
Yeah.
I said, well, I need to get the specific number.
Yep.
So, okay,
Well, yeah, I mean, the fact that this all came together this afternoon.
correct.
Tells us
There's
something.
another reason why we should not vote tonight.
Yep.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, I guess we're moving on.
And I'm sorry for slowing things down.
No,
No, that's okay.
Thank you for bringing the good questions, Peter.
Yeah, it's a good question.
Keep pushing.
Now it's the date for the next select board meeting, 1/12.
Next week, week from
next
today.
week. Every Monday this month.
It's
we'll be
1/12/25?
here. It's 1/12/26.
Ooh, I can't tell you how many times I've done that
I
already.
mean, I got the right date on our
You
contract.
did, I noticed that. Yeah.
I saw a cartoon yesterday of a guy in a toga sitting at a table complaining. It looked like he was an accountant back in ancient Rome, He basically said, oh, I did it again. He says, I keep forgetting that to write AD instead of BC.
Yes, sir.
Motion to adjourn at 7:33 PM.
Second.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Right.
No one.
Thank you,
And we
everybody.
wish,
Everybody.
we wish Patty well,
And we wish Josh well.
and Josh, of course. Yes.
I took a
Hang on, hang on, hang on, hang on, hang on, hang on.